Well, hello everybody and welcome to Lunch Break Live. Real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Cari Cruz here with you today on a Wednesday, not Thursday, as hubby tried to convince me it was this morning. It's Wednesday. Happy hump day. And as my grandpa used to say, I am full of P&V. But I don't think I see anybody here yet, which tells me that I may not really be live at all. Oh, there's my mom. All right, everybody's coming aboard. Hey, Darla, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, chica? All right, you guys, come on in. Welcome. Now, as I was mentioning before, maybe I was actually live or broadly live. Maybe I shouldn't use the word broad when I'm talking about obesity. Whatever. My grandpa used to say that when I was in a mood like this, I was full of P&V. And I don't need to tell you what the P and the V stand for. Let's just say it's a full head of steam, baby. So today's show, I ain't pulling any punches. It is too important to varnish it or sugarcoat it, because as I like to say, sugarcoating stuff is what got us here in the first place. Now, I do need to tell you, I'm a little more casual today, my attire, because it's a manual labor day around the office. I'm actually having to assemble a bunch of stuff for a project. So, why waste heels on a day when I'm going to be schlepping boxes, right? So anyway, really glad you guys are here, and I am not going to waste any time. I am going to launch into this subject matter, and the title of today's show is The Selfishness of Obesity and Addiction. All right? Now, if that don't get you, nothing will. But I promise I'm going to back it up. So, hey, Marcus, I'm really glad that you are here, and Jerry, you made it. Let me see who else is here before I launch into it. Let's see here. All right, so far, everybody that's showing up, I've mentioned. So here we go. Let's launch into it. Hey, Bonnie, welcome. Hello. All right, really glad that you're here. You guys are brave for showing up. I'm just going to tell you that right now, because maybe some people, when I say something wildly unpopular like that, would be like, heck no, I don't want to go anywhere near that show, especially if you're a new viewer. If someone pointed you my way and maybe you were expecting something different, and here I am trotting out this truth that may not be popular, you might be saying, oh, I don't know how invested I want to be in this show, because I'm not quite sure she's my cup of tea. But hang with me and see if maybe I make a little bit of sense as we go. Hey, Sherry, glad you are here. And Nancy, you made it. All right. We're filling in nicely here. So let me just begin with this. What does it say? That's heavy. Yeah, it is really, really heavy, guys. But it's all right. I'm going to keep it moving right along. And I'm going to put my glasses on, because I don't need to squint through this. That's just denial if I think I can read without my glasses on. All right. You might think it's really mean for me to title the show The Selfishness of Obesity and Addiction, because obesity and addiction hurt. I mean, that's the truth, right? They are literally painful. Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally and spiritually. They are excruciatingly painful, right? And people do not understand how much the diseases of obesity and addiction hurt, which of course hurts more, right? Because we want people to understand how hurt we are, how much it hurts, how much pain we're in. We want them to understand that. So how can I say that the diseases are selfish if they hurt so much? It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? It seems like I'm blaming the victim, right? It's like, oh, way to blame the victim there. Blame them for their own pain. But, okay, I get that. But it's like saying, well, I'm responsible for my own disease, right? It's all my fault. I don't deserve sympathy or pity. I did it to myself, and nobody cares how hard it is for me. Okay, well, that's not what I'm saying, but I get it. That's how it could certainly sound. But you know what? I kind of think the diseases of obesity and addiction protect themselves. They protect themselves so they can propagate. They don't want to die. They need to be fed, and they get fed with things like pity and denial and anger and disbelief and pain. Ooh, those are great tools, aren't they? Right? Because those are the things that can get us sympathy. Now, if we, as patients, are preoccupied with our disease or diseases, then the disease is completely protected. It is safe from treatment. We are not going to get treatment if we are consumed by protecting the disease by using tools like denial and pain and hurt and anger, right? It's safe. And that sounds like a paradox. Because you're thinking to yourself, well, don't all obese people want to be better? I mean, don't addicts want to be well? It's the paradox, right? Okay, don't we all want to be in recovery? That's like the question. You would see someone who is obviously active, where the disease of obesity, for example, is absolutely kicking their butt. You look at them and they are in obvious pain, and you say to yourself, don't you want to be better? Why do you keep doing that? Why do you keep eating that if it's only going to make you sick, right? Or an addict, why do you keep smoking that or doing that if you know it's going to keep you sick? See, it flies in the face of logic. I understand that. And it seems like we all should want to live in recovery. Of course it does. But here's what I think. If we all believed it, if we all actually believed that we should be well and should be treating our diseases, then wouldn't we all be treating our diseases? If we actually believed that we could do it, don't you think we would do it, right? Again, I think that's another tool of the disease. It wants you to believe you can't, because here's the rub. You ready? Recovery takes effort, honesty, commitment, accountability, and willingness, okay? The willingness to treat diseases like addiction and obesity. And guess what? It can also hurt to treat them, right? It can also hurt. It's kind of like you have a broken bone and they have to re-break it to set it. Ow, right? Or you have to get a cortisone injection in a painful joint. Ow. It's going to hurt. Maybe we don't want to do that. We're like, no, thanks. I'll take the pain I know. I don't need a new pain to put on top of the pain. Okay? Well, how many of us feel like we have been hurt enough already? We've been hurt by not being understood. We've been hurt by having to cope with this horrible condition, and we deserve some relief. Isn't that where we're all coming from if we are active in those diseases? So there is a very strong emotional and mental component to these diseases. I mean, there's no doubt about it. These are very physical diseases, which the mental and emotional part of it is like over and above simply functioning or coping with them, simply getting out of bed in the morning, simply getting out the door, simply putting ourselves in front of other people, okay, putting our disease on display. See, here's the thing. Everyone can see obesity all over us. There's no way we can hide it. We can't hide the disease from the world. And doesn't that hurt even more? I mean, does that hurt us even more when we can't hide our disease? Because why? We feel judged. We feel misunderstood. We feel ridiculed. We feel humiliated and limited and labeled, right? Mischaracterized. People are defining us by our disease because it's what they see. And we say to ourselves, well, if people just understood us, it would be so much easier to deal with the obesity. That's what we say. It would be so much easier. Or if people just understood that addiction really isn't a choice, it would be easier to treat it. That's what we believe, right? That's the disease talking, guys. So here's my question. Do you understand your disease or diseases? Did I understand my diseases before I chose recovery? I mean, look, I can't speak for you. I can't, but I can certainly speak for myself. And the answer to that, did I understand my diseases? No, absolutely not. I definitely did not understand my diseases. And I chose, maybe I didn't think I was making the choice, but I guarantee you I was. I chose to hide behind shame, embarrassment, laziness, okay? Learned laziness, okay? Crippling, though, laziness, victimhood, disbelief, denial, and incapability. Because I didn't believe I could do it, okay? I was so ashamed of myself and my condition that everything else was completely obscured from view. See, it was all about me. I was completely consumed by my diseases. So I had no hope for recovery because I focused on the part of the diseases that told me I had done it to myself. I didn't deserve help or compassion, and I just had to suffer until the suffering was over or I died, right? And by the way, there were a lot of times that I just wanted to die. I was done. I needed to escape the pain of the diseases. I couldn't take it anymore. I wasn't strong enough. I wanted it to be over. And that was the only way out that I could see was death. Death was the only way I was going to be free of this horrific, all-consuming disease. I beat myself up. I berated myself and I put myself down and I kept myself sick. See? I didn't realize it, but I was keeping myself sick by nursing, by tending to, by feeding and fomenting those negative, destructive thoughts and beliefs. And here is the selfish part. I was consumed by my diseases, my needs, my deficiencies, my complications and pains, my beliefs about myself, and as a result, I had my diseases all over everybody else in my life. I did. I physically had it all over people. Want to know how? When I flew in a plane and I oozed over into the seats to my left and to my right because I couldn't fit in my seat. Or I had to sit in the front seat of the car. I couldn't sit in the back seat with everybody else because we couldn't fit, right? We wouldn't be able to close the door if I was in the back seat with everyone else. They'd be smashed up against me and we'd be like marshmallow bunny peeps, peep chicks, right? Stuck together. Or let's see, when we had to sit at a table instead of a booth at a restaurant, even if everybody wanted to sit in a nice comfy booth, we were going to sit on the hard chairs without armrests and hopefully with wheels. Let's see. I physically had it all over my family because my needs dictated how much money the family could spend on things other than me. Want to know how? Because my plus size clothing cost 3 or 4 times as much money as average size clothing. And I went through shoes way faster. I mean, I was hard on my shoes. I mean, obviously they would break down, right, under that much weight. My clothing would typically maybe only last a season because I outgrew it or it wore out. Let's see, and how about the eating budget? I could eat a half a large pizza, so no leftovers for lunch for anybody. I ordered a hamburger combo and an extra burger. Cha-ching, right? Adding up here. I supersized everything. Ordered desserts. Sent my husband to the store when my disease screamed for zingers and ice cream and cookies and cake. And I could eat an entire package of Oreo double stuffed cookies and a tub of red vine licorice. And that meant that those fun treats that I had bought for all the kids on the camping trip, those were not going to be there for the entire 2-week camping trip, which meant we were probably going to have to go spend more money to buy more because they just weren't there. I could eat large bags of chips. So we'd have to buy the Costco size bag. I blew through Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi, whatever, was available to me, to the tune of, are you ready? And this is being conservative, 8 cans a day. This is not even counting the bottomless, all you can drink sodas at the fast food place. And that is more than a 6-pack a day, guys, in case you're counting, more than a 6-pack a day. And when you add the recycling tax to that, I was drinking us into the poorhouse all by myself. And I was just drinking soda. I wasn't even drinking booze, right? And every morning, you've heard me talk about this if you've seen the show, I would buy a large vanilla frappuccino type drink at 7-Eleven, a big bag of rolled gold pretzels, a pack of yellow zingers, 2 16-ounce bottles of Diet Pepsi, a package of chocolate chip cookies, so I could eat them on the way to work. Wow. That was like $10 a day before I even made it to the office. That is $50 a week. $200 a month, $2,400 a year, all before I ever got to the office. But I wanted it. And my disease screamed for it, right? And it also reinforced the fact that I was bad and wrong and already felt lousy about myself, right? That's how this works. But that was money that my family did not have to spend going to places like Disneyland or somewhere else, right? But then I couldn't go to Disneyland anyway because the walking and the standing would kill me, and the food would cost a fortune, and we couldn't park far away. We had to park close, even to walk from the tram. The emotional price tag and the physical price tag is really, really high. Really, really high for everybody in my life. Oh, and I dictated how fast or slow everyone had to walk. I dictated that. Sounds kind of selfish, don't you think? Because everyone would bend and yield to me because they didn't want to leave me behind. Didn't want to leave me in the dust. Didn't want to make me feel bad about myself. So are you beginning to see how selfish the diseases of obesity and addiction really are? Is this beginning to sink in and make a little bit of sense? Okay, I had my diseases all over everybody. Everybody. They were taking on emotional and, shrapnel. I mean, they had to wear bulletproof vests around me because I was going to have it all over them. They were going to get slimed. And that added insult to injury. I mean, that's just the reality of it, because didn't I already feel bad enough about myself without getting blamed for being selfish? I mean, but don't get me wrong. I did so much for others. I did. Let me see. I rarely ever said no. And I bent over backwards to please them. Because I really wanted them to like me. And I had to compensate for my deficiencies. I did. Nobody else, right? It was me. Not being able to meet clients because I didn't want to be seen, or being out sick so often. Getting more sick than other people that didn't have obesity or addiction. Of course, I didn't realize it. Poor me. And on and on and on. Okay, maybe you guys don't like what I'm saying right now. Maybe you are not loving this, okay? But now that I am on I'm going to call it the other side of, I'm looking from the other side of the diseases, which is to say that I can now honestly and safely look at how they affected everyone without beating myself up. I can clearly see that I always came first. My needs came first. Screw everyone else if they didn't feel sorry for me, because I guarantee you I felt more sorry for myself anyway. Okay? But it is not just the diseases of obesity and specifically food addiction. It is no secret. I'm bringing it, guys. I work with a raging addict. I do. I'm not putting him down, but I'm telling you, he is a raging addict, and I hate it. I hate it. It pisses me off because he has it all over everybody. Absolutely all over everybody. And everyone has to make up for his deficiencies, just like they used to have to make up for mine. Oh, he's out sick all the time. All the time. He leaves 20 times a day to go smoke. He drinks at least 5 cups of Keurig coffee. So that means we blow through the Costco-sized box, 2 a week maybe, right? Which takes coffee away from everybody else. Doesn't wash his spoons or mugs, leaves open packets of Splenda on the counter, doesn't close drawers or cupboards, doesn't throw away trash or clean up after himself. This might seem ridiculous, but everyone is affected by the disease, because when you go in there for a spoon, or you go in there for a mug, or we bring clients in, the kitchen is a disaster. The microwave door is open. The drawers are open, right? It's embarrassing. And so eventually people say, well, I'll just do it then. I'll just do it then. I'll just compensate. I'll just make up for. So he has it all over everybody. But wait a minute. Aren't we supposed to feel sorry for him? Right? You should feel sorry for him. It's not his fault, we say. He can't help it, we say. Because he's an addict. Oh my God. He can't help it if he has a disease. Only he can help it. This is the thing I know. He can help it if he chooses to do it. But if he chooses not to get help, what do we do with that? See, where does our sympathy go? Where does our compassion go? If we know he can get help but chooses not to, what do? Well, we know the disease protects itself, right? We know that. We're learning that. So we can't blame the victim. We can't blame the person with the disease, and yet we have to hold them accountable, because their disease is affecting everyone around them. And I understand I sound mean, right? I sound mean. Absolutely, I get it. I sound uncompassionate and totally inhumane, but the thing is, his choices affect everyone around him, and guess what happens? That breeds discontent and ire. I'm talking deep-seated anger, and people get pissed off. They get pissed off. And then they feel bad because they're judging him. See how this disease affects everybody? It infects everybody, because then we start to question our own sanity, our own humanity, our own sympathy, right? I have pretty much had to isolate myself from him. I have. Because I don't want to be more affected or infected than I already am. In other words, I got my own stuff to deal with, right? And so I bring my own spoons, and I bring my own plates, and I wash my own stuff, and see what I'm saying? Don't clean up after, whatever. But that means modifications to how it is that I get to interact with people. So you see how this disease is pretty selfish? Are you beginning to see this now? So am I selfish? This is like the real question. Am I selfish? Because I don't want to tolerate his untreated disease. Does that make me bad and wrong? Maybe. Okay. Well, is he selfish because he has his disease all over everybody? Probably. Just like I had my disease all over everybody. But I think it's more unkind to pretend everything is okay. I see it in the WLS community. Go you, it's okay, everybody makes mistakes, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, while somebody is struggling and saying, but I don't feel fine. I don't feel fine. I am struggling with this disease, and something is going wrong, and I know my part of it, but I can't get out of it. Mary's going, that's okay, you're human, everybody struggles, it's okay, it's okay. I think that's unkind. I think that is horribly unkind to tell everybody that when they know something's wrong, and they're on to themselves, and they're on to this disease, and they're saying, wait a minute, I am tired of this disease, and I want to be well, and everybody says, come on, it's hard. Just look at the bright side of things. Don't focus on that side of things. I think that's horribly unkind, and that's why I don't do it. And you know what? That makes me unpopular sometimes, and I just have to be okay with that. I don't have to be mean. I know I sound mean. But I'm just being truthful with you guys. And I don't want to be unloving, because you know what? I love him as a person. Of course I do. I don't love his disease. And I don't love the choices that his disease encourage him to make any more than I loved the choices my diseases wanted me to make. But guess what? I didn't love myself enough to get well, but I do now. And that's my wish for you guys. I want you to love yourselves enough to be able to separate yourselves from what the disease wants you to believe about yourself. I want you to believe differently, and I want you to accept the fact that the disease is selfish and wants you to be selfish. And see how it is that you've been having your diseases all over everyone else, expecting them to change, expecting them to cater to you, expecting them to understand what even you don't understand. So, before you start telling me, I love this one, that you never think of yourself and you always do for others, I'm going to have to stop you right there. I'm just going to have to. Because why? Well, if that were true and you really did think of everybody else, you'd be in recovery. That's how that works, okay? Because the diseases always find a way to come first. Absolutely always. They always find a way to get fed. They make sure that what's eating us up gets fed, right? They make sure to dig in there so that it bugs us and we say, go away, go away, go away, I'm going to feed you. Whether it's food or whether it's drugs or whether it's sympathy. Feel bad for me. Feel bad for me. Give me permission, right? Understand me. Oh, forgive me. Forgive me for not choosing to treat my disease. Give me a free pass because I can't. Oh, and I'm going to make excuses for all the things I can't do. And I'm going to blame my disease on genetics, right? I'm going to blame it on everything else around me, my mom. I'm going to blame it on my mom or my dad or my parents or how I was raised or my environment. And I'm going to look for justification. And I'm going to say, if you had to deal with that, what I have to deal with, you'd understand I'm justified in doing the things that I'm doing, right? Are you getting that? Trust me, you are not thinking about everybody else. You say you are, but you really, really aren't. As long as you are active in your disease is coming first. I promise you. Once you are firmly in recovery, You won't be selfish, and you will do for others, because that is what recovery is all about. It is getting out of your own way, stop making it all about you, and serving others. You serve recovery. So I get it, okay? I know today's show sounds mean and uncaring, but I really think that perpetuating a lie that the diseases of obesity and addiction are not selfish is mean and uncaring. And I will never, ever, ever knowingly be a part of condoning anyone's sickness. So what do you think of that? There it is, all right? You can do with it what you need to, but I hope that you will hear what I'm saying, not in a judgmental way, but in a freeing and liberating way that says, now I understand how I have been imprisoned by my disease, by my own choices and my own beliefs. And now, if I can accept these realities, then I don't have to feed them anymore, because they will not be eating me up, and they will wither and die. That selfish part of me that has been feeding my diseases, I want that to wither. I do not want that to have strength and power over me anymore. So what I am talking about here is truly liberation from feeling bad about yourself, because you can't believe a lie anymore. It's not true. And that, I think, is why you struggle to even accept that the diseases are selfish, because in your heart of hearts, you know that every time you say it's not, you know it's a lie. All right? So this is a little bit of truth for a very strong, powerful, I get it, heavy subject matter for a Wednesday afternoon, but I think it needs saying. So I really encourage you guys to share this. You know, if you agree with what I had to say, or you think what I had to say deserves more discussion, I would encourage you to share it. Share this message, spread this news, so that we can have a better and healthier dialogue about it. All right? We don't have to be mean, but we have to be honest, guys. All right? So I'm going to sign off now, and I'm going to remind you all to have courage. Seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, choose the freedom and selflessness of recovery. Remember, can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I will read your comments. See you guys. Bye.